cut. Isn't it? Restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump administration.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
Right, there we go. Hi, legends. Welcome to another live stream. Whew, Bitcoin is being squeezed here into a little bit of a wedgie scenario. Are we going to get the breakout to the upside, or are we going to have a fake out reject, or are we going to reject? You know, often what I see with these little patterns, okay, because, you know, there's so many retail players watching these little patterns, and they do sometimes play out to perfection. And I'm using the word sometimes, right? Because we all know the reliance on these patterns. But what I often see with these patterns is that you sometimes always get a fake out to the one side first, and then the true move happens. Now the question is, are we going to get the fake out, okay, to the downside and then break to the upside? Or are we going to fake out to the upside and then just terribly collapse here back to the downside? Legends, today we will analyze the price of Bitcoin. I will do some I'm going to start off with very, very basic, simple technical analysis. And then, you know, as the stream progresses, I will make it a little bit more complex by adding a little bit of Elliott wave theory. But I'm not just going to dive into Elliott wave theory. It is complex to understand, but let's tackle the price action here from a simplicity perspective. Okay, so, right, legends, now. Let me go here onto the 4-hour time frame. Okay, let's just take stock of where we are. Okay, some interesting things I want to discuss today, right? Some potential trading opportunities. Everyone is, as you know, we've been talking about this damn trend line for the last how many days, right? Last 2 weeks we've been talking about this trend line. Are we going to get the breakout to the upside? Well, so far, if you place your trend as such, Bitcoin is trading above the trend. This is a bullish sign. You are consolidating outside of the trend. So from a bullish perspective, the probabilities looks like maybe it's going to come back down, test the trend, and it's going to rock and roll here to the upside. $95,000, $96,000, right? That is definitely a scenario that could play out. So from a simplicity perspective, when you have a successful breakout, this is usually where you build your long position, your stop loss goes below the low, and you are targeting the first area of major resistance, which is at $96,000. Okay, there's a trading setup. If you wanted a trading setup, okay, this one is going to take very long to play out because it's on the 4-hour time frame, and we all know, okay, this is typically what swing traders, okay, I will call this a swing trade, right? You build your position, you have your stop below the low, and as long as it doesn't get acceptance back inside the trend, and usually how people play this is two ways, okay? If price gets acceptance back below the trend and it closes high time frame candle body, you know, 4-hour, 8-hour bodies below the trend, that is usually a bearish sign. That's where I get out. I'm not going to wait for my stop loss to get hit. Okay. Another way to play the trade is to say that I don't care what happens. Yeah, I'm just going to leave my stop loss and I'm going to let the trade play out. Okay, you can see if you look at the price action over here, purely from a price action perspective, there is your resistance, massive resistance above. And you can see that price has already rejected here, okay, once, failed to break in. Where's my pen? Okay, failed to break in, right? You can see proven resistance and support over here. So if price starts accelerating here to the upside, the first major, okay, there's still more resistance to the downside, slightly below, but the first major resistance is $96,000. So from a trading setup perspective, you say, well, we had a fake out, we claimed the low, beautiful. Now we're having a breakout, and we closed multiple high time frame candles above the trend. Okay, so the probabilities for this trade to play out is potentially now on my side, because I'm building my position over here. I am going to sit on my hands and let the trade play out. I'm going to let the trade play out and take profits over here. Remember guys, it's never the trade. Okay, does it have the potential to claim the high? Of course. Okay, but I just like to pay myself when you longing support, and you need to take profits at when you start hitting major resistance. Okay, so legends, from a simplicity perspective, there you go, right? Because people tell me, Dewald, your Elliott wave theory is too complex. Can you simplify it and dumb it down? Well, there you go, right? I've dumbed it down as best as I possibly could, right? And if I just don't like, if we're going to get, it's fine if price rejects. It gets a wick that gets bought up very quickly, but the bodies of the candles, the higher time frame candle closes above the trend. That is still bullish, where you build that bullish pennant and then you break to the upside. That's something also that I will keep an eye on. Okay, cool, legends. Now let's go here onto the 1 hour 15-minute time frame. I just want to see which time frame is going to give us the better structure. Okay, now let's zoom into this little structure and see, well, what is cooking with this little structure over here. Okay, we are forming, what do you call it, a bull flag, right, above the trend. Okay, we're forming a bull flag above the trend. And from a breakout perspective, what some traders will do is they will wait for a high time frame candle to break this resistance. They want to see an RS flip. And there's a couple of ways in which you can play this trade. You wait for a breakout. The body needs to close outside above. Okay? Not leave a wick behind. Right? The body needs to close outside. You get a retest, and this is where breakout traders they will either play the breakout and add to their position over here, expecting higher levels. Right, and then you take profits when you start hitting the highs and a little bit more to the upside. Right, this is not my favorite trade. This is not a type of trade that I will take, but I do know that some traders have great success in playing this strategy. Okay, so I'm just explaining to you how traders execute the strategy. And you could be a breakout trader, and this is potentially what you are waiting for. Right. Yo, Dewald, Simon Jones, welcome in the house. I will take some time just now and say hi to the community. I see Mr. Simon is here. I see you, Mr. Simon. Rudy, hi, Dewald. Ram, hi, Dewald. Hi, everyone. JP, I see all of you. Okay, I will go through the comment in a moment. Right, Dewald, who is the man in the intro music that asks you about what all this FOMO is about? That is my brother. Yes, he has a very deep Afrikaans accent, but that's my brother in that song. Okay, right. Hi, Dewald. Should I buy Bitcoin now? No, you should watch the show, right? You should watch the show. I'm busy explaining a couple of trading scenarios. Okay. Cool. So legends, if you are feeling bullish, this is basically the breakout that you want to play. I like to play these breakouts a little bit different. Okay. And sometimes I miss the trade because I'm waiting to play the breakout the way that I want to play the breakout. And I don't care. Then I miss the trade and I look for next trading opportunity. But for me, it's about protecting my cash. Okay. I would rather wait. Okay. Like what happened over here. Can you guys see the mini little trend inside there? Let's go into the 15-minute time frame. When you see a little trend or a pattern forming, I will try and play the breakouts inside of the pattern. So you could have played that breakout where you play this breakout and you have your stop below this low. It means it gives you better risk management so that if price breaks out, you have an insanely risk to reward. You have better risk management. You are already in the trade and you don't have to look for an entry over here. So that is how I like to play the breakouts. I'm looking for entries further down, inside of the pattern. Okay, there was another opportunity to potentially get into this trade, and this was this little breakout over here. Okay, this happened 2 o'clock in the morning while I was sleeping, so I did not play this breakout. But if I was awake and in front of the chart, breakout, stop below the low, you target the highs. This is already a TP1 zone just from this little move up here. But now you are already in the trade. You've already taken profits. Maybe you leave 50% of your position open, however you want to play the strategy to say that I'm going to pay myself a little bit less cash because I'm expecting the breakout. So I'm going to take profits, but I'm going to take less profits. But please take profits, okay? That's the rule. You long, you take profits when you hit resistance, okay? Because price could come down again, right? So this is another strategy that I will pay attention to. I would rather want to have an entry down below with great risk management than trying to play a breakout over here, because it could literally just accelerate and it doesn't come back for a retest. Then what? Do you just FOMO in? Where do you put your stop loss? Okay, if you do play the breakout strategies, you must probably have a plan according to the strategy. I don't like to play the breakouts over here. It's not my style of trading. Okay, this is where I start looking for longs. So if price had to continue here to the downside, maybe it bounces on the trend again and it now forms another trend. Well, voila, there is my trading opportunity. Okay, hope that makes sense, legends. Now, something interesting I want to point out is that, you can even, you play the breakout, you take profits by the 618786, you play the breakout, you take profits by the 618786 and the highs. Maybe you're just playing these small little moves and you are cashing out. Okay, right. Position closed. It's also, a trade is a trade at the end of the day. Depends on how much capital and risk you've deployed with this trade. Cool, legends. Now, okay. If price falls to the downside, another longing opportunity that I am looking for is this daily level over here in confluence with this little pivot. Because that could maybe signal the fake out to the downside. Okay, let's say price rejects here and it starts falling to the downside. There's a way to get in via the trend. But boy, if you can snipe these little levels, then you have an insane entry with better, much better risk management. But swing failure patterns does take experience. You have to do a couple of them, not just one or two, at least 100, 200, 300 swing failure patterns before you start getting the hang of them. The personality, how they react at the levels, what is bullish signs and what is bearish signs. It's like learning how to ride a bicycle or learning how to drive a car. You need to put in the hours. You need to practice them. Okay. And you need to apply your rules. Often, I get the question very often, Dewald, how do you play a swing failure pattern? And I've tried to explain it many times, but unfortunately, you have to practice them. Reverse the price action, go put in your levels and practice your swing failure patterns. Play it with demo money, and on weeks, you can play with demo money as well. Right, and on TradingView. TradingView also has a feature that's called paper trading. Okay, it's demo money. I like to put my own cash on the line. But guys, if you would like to come and trade with me, the links for the exchanges that I use is always down in the description, where you qualify for the best deals and best sign-up bonuses. Okay. I still didn't fix this. I need to go and fix this. I'm not going to fix it now, legends. It's going to take too long. I need to fix this. Right, weeks. All you need is an email and a password. You get 20, not 50, 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. So if you deposit $1,000, okay, you get $200 back free to trade with. So it doesn't impact your $1,000. So you have $1,200 to trade with. You also get 25% discount on your trading fees, but you have to leave the money in the features account for 3 days. to qualify, and then the money gets airdropped into your futures account. Okay, just to explain, because I get a lot of questions around this. Bluffin, exactly the same thing, right? So if you don't like weeks, I have Bluffin. They both have the exact same special at the moment in terms of the 20% cash back. But on Bluffin, as you trade volume and you hit $10,000 worth of volume, you get a chance to spin the wheel and win some amazing prizes. Okay, let's wait for this to load up. Here we go, right? You can win every single time except for this little one. So the odds of winning something is really high. Every time you move $10,000 worth in volume, you can win a MacBook Pro, AirPods, 500 features bonus, Doge. Okay, I'm very bullish on Doge, and I feel like every time I discuss the Doge here in the wheel, I feel like I want to go do the technical analysis on Doge to show you why I'm so bullish on Doge. It's not from a fundamental perspective. It just looks sexy as hell from a macro technical perspective. Doge looks sexy as hell. Okay, even if Bitcoin takes another dump to the downside, its bullish structure will still be, hopefully, but it has a lot of breathing room, will still be intact. Okay, right, one of those meme coins. I mean, we've all seen how crazy the meme coins has rampaged to the upside. Okay, Doge has not done that magic yet, but the structure looks like it's now gearing itself to do what all of the other meme coins has do. It's like Doge is saying, I'm going to show you what you were supposed to do. Right, okay, anyways, legends, you get a chance to spin the wheel every time you move $10,000 worth in volume. Right, legends, let's carry on with the technical analysis. So this daily level, okay, we might break it, definitely, but what if price rejects? It breaks this trend, this pattern that everyone is looking at, the bull flag. What if it breaks the bull flag? The fake out to the downside. I like to see some fake outs with these little patterns. What if it gets the fake out to the downside? It gets acceptance back above the daily, and then it breaks back in. All the breakout traders shorted the crap out of this, okay, with their stop losses above the highs, and then they get liquidated, and then the true move happens. Okay, so definitely an area. This little pivot and the daily level is definitely the first zone that I will pay attention to for potential long, because imagine getting an entry over here with your stop loss below the low. Price gets acceptance back inside the... You can protect your position. You have a free trade. You don't have to play the breakout, the confusing breakout here to the upside. You know, is it going to come back for a retest? Or maybe it just continues to the upside. And maybe you get lucky, it comes back for a retest, okay? You can slightly add to your position, dragging your entry up, but you can still protect it, right? So there's benefits in catching a better long entry here to the downside. So the first level that I'm going to pay attention to is this daily level. Smash up the like, legends, if you haven't done so already. Okay, how is that like button doing? 181 people here on the live stream, 43 likes. Oof, I know we can do better than that. We always do better. This community is absolutely amazing. I'm always surprised about the amount of people that watch this live stream versus the amount of likes that I get during every live stream. So I really feel spoiled and privileged as a YouTube influencer that people, you know, give me so many likes. So I really appreciate it, right? So if you've forgotten to give me that like today, I would really appreciate it, right? There we go, the almost 60 likes. There we go. Right, Simon Dewald, can you please look at ETH? Yes, I can look at ETH. I want to look at Say. Someone, I think Mr. Jack. Is Jack? Yeah. Yes, Mr. Jack, I see you. I see you. I'm going to look at Say. Please remind me if I do forget, but I will look at Say. I'm just going to highlight your comment so I don't forget. Someone has asked for ETH. Let me flag your comment so I don't forget. There we go. Right, we can go and have a look at some altcoins. Okay. Best channel ever. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Right, legends, let's get back into business. Right, so first longing opportunity, daily level. Remember, legends, okay, it's not guaranteed. Price can fall through aggressively. I'm not interested in a long when price is below my area of interest. I have to stress this because I get messages from people when they attempt these trades. And then, you know, the messages that I hate the most or that saddens me the most is price is below the level and they add. They try to catch the bottom and they add. And they're like, Dewald spoke about this level. And they keep on adding and they keep on adding until there's nothing left to add. And then eventually they liquidate their position. Okay? Please do not attempt a long as price is below your longing area of interest. Only if price gets acceptance back above that level. And by acceptance, I mean price dips below and it starts trading above. That is acceptance back above the level. Okay, just to clarify, so that no one gets confused. If you liquidate your account over here, because of this potential longing opportunity, it's not my fault. It's your fault. Okay, because I've explained this many times during every single live stream. When you long an area and price is above your area, that is where your entry needs to be. Your stop loss needs to be below the recent low that's been made over there, depending on how long or deep that week goes. Okay. You do not enter and limit order the shit out of this thing, thinking that, hoping, praying, biting your nails, sweating bricks, okay, thinking and praying that it's going to turn around, because it might not turn around. It will just continue here to the downside. Right, so very important to pay attention, and this is why swing failure patterns comes with a little bit of experience. Okay, you need to go and practice them. Okay, right, legends, it looks like price wants to find a little bit of more downwards momentum over here. These are the bullish case scenarios. Okay, there's another very interesting level that I'm watching here to the downside. Okay, if price gets aggressive to the downside, like I said, it does not swing failure from the daily level. It continues to the downside. The next area of confluence is the naked point of control at $82,115. The reason I like this naked point of control is because there's liquidity building up below these lows. And it also has confluence with that big 4-hour trend. How often have you seen a breakout? It comes back, it retests the trend, and then you get momentum to the upside. So if we lose this zone, this is an area that I'm paying attention to. Right, basically as simple as that. I will tell you, however, if price falls down here, whether it's this level or whether it's this level, when I hit resistance, okay, because now this will become resistance. If price successfully swing failures here, I'm not going to be that type of trader that just says, okay, I'm going to take profits at $95,000 and just leave it. No, 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 no. If I get in here with good risk management and price taps resistance, I will take TP1. I will leave some of the position open for higher levels, but I will pay myself because the market is unpredictable. The only thing that I have control over from a trading perspective is I don't know where price is going to go, but I can execute a trade with good risk management and pay myself when we start hitting resistance. I have control over that, but I can't control where price is going to go. So I need to control my trade by taking profits when you start hitting resistance, because it could roll over. Price could roll over and start making lower highs and continue and get acceptance back below the trend. And at least I did pay myself, even if it's 10%, 20% of the position. At least I've paid myself. My position is protected. It's a free trade. So if I get stopped out, at least I still take profits. Okay, right. And the reason, there's a very good reason why I'm planning to take profits here as well, legends, because now I've discussed the bullish case scenarios. We have a bullish pattern. There's a chance, okay, we have multiple high time frame candle closes above the trend. So during the beginning of this live stream now, for the first 24 minutes, I have basically discussed everyone, I'm looking for long positions. Okay? But now let's discuss the bearish case scenario. I'm also looking for short positions. I posted this in our pro community just a couple of minutes before I went live. Like 15-20 minutes before I went live. There's something very interesting about the structure that I want to discuss. And as you can see, it's never easy, right? It's never easy in trading, but I can get into a trade with good risk management. Where's my daily levels? Let me switch this off. Right. Let me also switch this off. Something very interesting to note over here. I'm even going to put this little box off. And let's switch the trend off. Let's work with a blank chart. When you take a fib from this high to the low that we've created here at $74,475, okay? Price is currently struggling at the 786. Okay, that's where price is struggling. So the first pattern that I'm looking at the moment is, what if this is forming a Gartley pattern? Okay. Yes, you could put your pivot over here. You can put your C point over there. It doesn't really matter. Whether you put it here, whether you put it here, it doesn't really matter. It does impact the profit-taking area, but let's just go with the Gartley. You all know, well, you maybe not all, because I don't often speak about Gartley patterns. Okay, let me see if I can bring this up. Let me do this from a trading pattern perspective. Let me see if I can open up my trading patterns over here and then drag this in here. Here we go. For those of you that are not familiar with Gartley harmonic patterns, it's basically harmonic patterns. You get various different ones, but these are the ones that I like the most. Okay, you get a crab, you get a butterfly, you get a Gartley, you get a bat, and CY. I can't remember what this one stands for. Okay, so on the crab, you have a bullish and a bearish one. On the butterfly, you have a bullish and a bearish one. Okay? On the Gartley, bearish, bullish. You guys get the point. So the one that I'm discussing now is this Gartley over... Oops, what did I do? Is this Gartley over here. Okay? It gives you all the rules and the levels that it needs to meet in order to be valid. Same with the bat. So I will just explain it from a simplicity perspective. So let's take this out the way. This is now potentially a Gartley pattern. The rule for the Gartley pattern is the C point needs to make a higher low, which it did. Ever so slightly, it made a higher low, so it's valid. If this made a lower low, okay, it claimed the low, then no more Gartley pattern, right? So that's the one rule that needs to be respected. Typically, your B point retraces to the 50% or the golden pocket, and that's why I was like, okay, does it go here? Okay, does the C point go here? But I mean, I'm just going to give it the benefit of the doubt because it's the D point that's the most important. Right. Let me just enlarge this once again. So there's a chance, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is a reversal pattern. Okay. We've just spoken about the long opportunities, and I see the YouTube channels are very bullish. They are presenting altcoin buys and zones and whatever the case might be. I just want to, be that little bit bearer of, I won't say bad news, because remember, okay, I don't look at price falling to the downside as bad news. I look at it as a trading opportunity. It's an amazing day trading opportunity. Okay, yes, for our altcoin portfolios and the investment portfolios, you want price to go up, but from a day trading perspective, I can make a lot of money, okay, playing momentum to the downside. Right, so legends, the rule for this harmonic is that the D point needs to reject at the 786, which it's currently doing for the Gartley. It has to reject over here and not tap the 0.88. So there's a potential trading setup over here where you enter the short at the 786, you have your stop loss at the 0.88, okay? And the profit taking area is when you take your fib from C point to the highs that was created over here. Okay, the 0.618 is always TP1. So it can get quite nice here to the downside. Okay, can you guys see the potential trading opportunity from a shorting perspective? Right, this is obviously going to get acceptance back below the trend. This is going to be bearish. I just want to state that these are regarded as reversal patterns. TP1 is always at the golden pocket, TP2 is at C point, and TP3 is at A point. But C and A point are very close, so I will just call it TP1, TP2, you're out. Okay, so this pattern has the potential to come all the way down and retrace the entire move. Okay, I just need to show you guys both sides of the coin. I know we are bullish. I know we want price to go up. What if it rejects? There is an harmonic that balances at the moment. It's not the most prettiest one, but there is one that actually looks sexier than the godly, and it's the bat. It's the bat that I would really like to play out. Okay, it's the bat one for me is, from a technical perspective, the better one to trade, right? So this one can definitely play out. So the only difference between a godly and a bat is your D point goes slightly higher. Okay, so you take your fib, again, from the high to the low, right? And the only difference between the bat and the godly is that the bat can have a lower B point. It doesn't have to be at the golden pocket. This is the only thing that concerns me about the godly, is that your B point is below the 50%. I at least want the 50% to be hit on the B point to have a valid godly, but I have seen many godlies play out even if it hits the 382. I have seen it play out. So it's not a, it doesn't eliminate it, okay, or invalidate the scenario. But for a bat, it's allowed to be over there. The B point is perfect. But then your D point is at the 0.88. That's the difference. Okay. What I really like about the D point, okay, is this little consolidation area over here. There we go. Just wanted to make it perfect. This little consolidation, when we made this high over here, okay, when I pull a fixed range profile, and these little babies over here has given me very successful trades, because it's usually a level that no one is watching. Okay, there's a point of control inside of this little consolidation area where the most amount of volume was traded, and that little point of control is in perfect confluence with the 0.88. Perfect. They married over here at the 0.88, which is also a D point for this harmonic. So if price finds the strength to still push up here and its swing failures the 0.88, this is where I will be looking for a short. So maybe you are in a long position and you can hedge over here. This is definitely, okay, if you are in a long position from lower levels expecting an explosion here to the upside, it's not to say that you have to close your long position and now you just enter the short, because you don't know what the market is going to offer you. Okay, you can hedge your long over here. If you are in a long from lower levels, right, you should have already taken profits to the upside, just by the way. But, you know, if you do get a successful rejection from the 0.88, you can hedge your long, because it could find support. It looks like it's playing out, and then it continues to the upside. And then from your short position, when you start hitting support, you need to start taking profits. So you can make profits from your short, and then you will continue making profits from your long if price continues to the upside. Okay. Right. The profit taking area for this little scenario, if I switch on the naked point of controls, where's my point of controls over here? I call it my mini naked point of control, because it's a level that no one is watching. It has perfect confluence with the 0.88. If price continues to the upside and it gets acceptance back below a level that I'm watching, I will definitely attempt a short over here. Okay. Unfortunately, this little short has the potential to come to the lows. It has the potential, but it could also, when you take your fib, again, from C point to the D point, let's say it does reject there, it can go all the way to the golden pocket and claim the lows. Okay. Right. But legends, I'm not just going to short over here and wait and wait and wait for this to happen, because it might not. Maybe it bounces here at support. You know, we've now built massive support over here. massive support. It could reject. I'm going to start taking profits here already, right? TP1. If it goes down further, TP2. If it goes down further, TP3. And then maybe I'll leave 10% of the position open for lower levels. That's just my style of trading. Okay, you could be the type of trader that says, okay, I'm going to enter the short and this is my TP1, TP2, I'm out. Right, there's a chance for that to play out. Based on this pattern, okay, when you go and do research and study the analysis of godly patterns, they will usually say when you take your fib from the C point to the D point, your golden pocket is your first profit-taking area, because this is where you could bounce and continue momentum to the upside. Okay, cool, legends. I hope you guys are finding this educational. I hope you're learning something here from what I'm showing you. Also very interesting that this 382 has perfect confluence with a naked point of control. Definitely a profit-taking area, but it could also be a longing opportunity. Remember, guys, if you are shorting, you have to remember that if you're shorting and you're waiting to hit support to take profits, it also becomes a longing opportunity. Why on earth are you then taking profits? If you think it's going to bounce, why not take the long? Okay, just some food for thought. This could also become a longing opportunity where you play the long, comes back down, you take profits from your short. You can also play the long. Maybe it rejects. Maybe, it starts rolling over and you can play those little momentums to the upside. So you're in a bigger short trade to the downside, but you're scalping these small little bounces along the way where you're supposed to take TP from your short. Right, so legends, here is your bearish case scenario. Okay. This bearish case scenario, this little pattern that I'm showing you over here is that when I take the fibs, let's clean up the chart ever so slightly. Okay, let's just leave the harmonic. Let's go on to 4-hour time frame. And now look at this little structure. Okay, can take that out the way. And this is now where I think we could potentially get the reversal and we need to be prepared for it. Right, remember this scenario that I spoke about yesterday. Okay, what if we had the 1, we had the 2, we had the 3, we are now busy with 4. You want it to reject over here. If we are going to form another 5th wave to the downside, to come and claim the lows again, and we're going to hit $70,000, right? I think we all know by now that there's a massive liquidity pool at $72,000. So I would not be surprised if we do successfully reject here and this harmonic plays out where you claim the A and the C point here at the bottom. I would expect the 5th wave to find its feet at $70,150. I think that's a good little target for the 5th wave, right? Not to invalidate itself. Okay, so there's a chance, looking at this structure, that this reversal pattern could send price to the downside. Sorry, legends, I wish I could give you a little bit of better news, but there's always a bearish and a bullish case scenario. Okay, what if this is a fake out from the trend line breakout? Everyone is turning bullish too quickly. Maybe there's one more low. Maybe there's one more low, and maybe the signs are here that you've got a reversal pattern. There's a 5th wave still on the horizon that needs to play out for this scenario to still stay valid. Maybe this is the moment where it's going to reject and make the 5th wave. So if you playing a short, like I've just explained, the 0.88, you play the swing failure pattern, there's a chance that you could come and hit $70,000. There's a chance. Right, but as I explained, I will be taking profits all the way to the downside. Right, let me go through some comments. Let's see what is the sentiment. What are you guys asking? Okay, most probably for altcoin requests, but I'm sure there's some good technical questions here as well. Arkin, thank you, Dewald. Absolute pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. Ram, yep, smash the like button, guys. Yes, smash up that like for the education over here. Hi, Dewald. How about THTA now? THTA now, is that a altcoin requests? Was it Theta or is it just THTA? I mean, there's so many altcoins, guys. There's so many altcoins. Right. First down, then up. First down, then up, Mr. Godfather. It's definitely inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, I see it. I'm not, if there's one pattern, someone once asked me the question, Dewald, what is the pattern you hate the most? And it's a head and shoulders. I hate them. I think we all have that pattern, that we don't like. Right. What do you think of the mantra coin? The mantra coin, the OM coin, it's gone viral. A very good username. The mantra coin is actually a very interesting discussion. I actually want to bring it up and I can discuss the mantra coin. Okay. What I can say is that dump was expected from a technical perspective. Maybe not as fast and as aggressive as it went down, but the dip was expected. So let me just bring it up. A very interesting coin to talk about. Right, I'm not sure if any of you did have buys inside of Mantra. I'm just trying to figure out. I think this one will give us the best data set over here. Let's see. Let's go to the weekly time frame. Yeah, I think this is good enough. This is definitely good enough. I just want to see something here on the daily. And then I want to see something on the log scale. Yes, definitely worth talking about this token. Okay, and I will show you guys from a technical perspective, okay, why this actually makes sense. This makes sense from a technical perspective if I look at this structure. Anyways, we'll get to that. Right, legends, let's go through some more comments. Dewald, if we take a fib from the higher low of 95k to the lower low at 74, okay, let's try that out quickly. Let me just clean up the chart. Okay, from the higher low, this one, the higher low of 95, the higher low, the higher low, the higher high, Jack. 95 and a higher low doesn't make sense. The lower low at 74k. Yes. Okay, so let's just take a fib from 95. Let's do this. Let's take a fib from 95 like this. Okay, so that's basically what you want to determine over here, right? Golden pocket. This area is gaining a lot of confluence, massive resistance. Yes, you can see the resistance. I mean, look at the Jack. I can't agree with you more. Definitely, there's loads of. I mean, it's also the golden pocket, right? And from when you made this low, this golden pocket has not been tapped. Okay, so a lot of people sometimes get confused. They do the fib pool. Okay, let me just switch off this scenario. It's creating confusion. Let's do that, right? A lot of people, they will do the fib pool. Let me just make sure that it's correct. And then they will look at the golden pocket and they will see what it's been tapped. And it's been tapped. No, it hasn't. Because from this low, the golden pocket has not been tapped. Okay, these taps happened when the fib was at that little pivot. So it had little wicks there into the upside. You now need to adjust your fib. Right, anyways, just like to shower everyone with a little bit of education of mistakes, simple little technical mistakes that I see some people still make sometimes, right? But yes, there's no denying. I want to see where's my weekly level. Okay, there's no denying Mr. Jack and everyone else that the golden pocket is good resistance and it gets very well respected. But since the golden pocket, okay, if I look at this structure from the high, oops, let me grab my pen, from the high to the low, the golden pocket has already been tapped. For me, it becomes weaker. The more times you tap a specific area, the weaker it becomes. The more interesting level that has not been tapped is the weekly level. Now that becomes juicy to me. Now, if you adjust your fib, this is what I like. You have a 786 almost in confluence with a weekly point of control, which is a strong area of resistance. So I would rather say, okay, because the golden pocket has already been tapped, even if you take a fib to this pivot, it makes it weaker, and then this area becomes very interesting to me. Yes, you can swing failure the high over here. But from a levels perspective, okay, this is another way to look at it. If I switch on all my levels, my daily levels, my weekly levels, I just need to find them all because for some reason my things are all messed up over here. There we go. Weekly levels, daily levels, point of controls. When I zoom in here, okay, look at all the levels that I have on my chart. It's a mountain of levels. But when I zoom in and I look at where price is at the moment, besides Fibonacci, okay, there's nothing. It's a blank space over here. And this is why I'm saying, guys, this is the last line in the sand. I think if we're going to break this little pivot that I've just identified from a back pattern perspective for potential reversal that could even come to the lows, if you're going to break this area and smash through it, I think there's a good chance that price is going to continue until it hits $90,000. There's just no it's just a Fibonacci level. There's no confluence at the end of the day. And it has already been tapped. So although, yes, Jack, thanks for pointing that out. There's a chance, okay, you have an order block, you have a little high over here. There's a chance that you could swing failure the highs, but there's just no levels of confluence. There's no resistance levels, okay? Daily levels, there's no naked point of controls, there's no weekly levels, it's just an open space over here. So there's a high chance that if price smashes this level and it doesn't reject, I think there's a high chance it's going to continue to $89,000, $90,000. Let's see how this plays out. The only way that you could potentially get into a shorting opportunity, okay, without hitting the zone, the only way that you can get into a short is a swing failure from the highs. It's the only way that I will play a short. Okay, there's no ways that I'm just going to prices here and I start shorting. How? Based on what? Okay, if I get a swing failure from the highs, if price does this and it starts trading below the highs, then I will think about a short with my stop above the high. It's the only time I will jump into a short. Because now you have swing failured the highs, you have grabbed, there's stop losses here, there's liquidity over here, so you basically, it grabs the liquidity, it gets acceptance back below. That is how I will play the short, okay? But I do like my levels, and I want my levels to get hit, so most likely I will not play the short if it does not hit my level. And if it does hit my level, my alarm will go off, and that's where I will pay attention. 7/8, it would be nice for price to actually, if it doesn't reject, find support, okay, and it does this, right? It shows the weakness, double tops, triple tops to the upside, bearish, local bearish CVD between those pivots. I mean, this could be a nice little epic short back here to the downside. Right, but for me, from a technical perspective, this is the best zone. $90,000 is the best zone to start looking for shorts. If price just flares here to the upside. Okay, right. Sorry, legends. Just want to check something here. Cool. Why are alts getting wrecked? BTC is above 84. It's because dominance is not dropping. So all the love and all the attention, okay, is going to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is getting all the milk and the cookies and all the attention, and the other kids are sitting in the corner not getting anything. Right, and dominance shows us that. Right, so as long as dominance does not drop, alts will just do nothing or stand still or move up ever so slightly. Sometimes you get a little bit of a popcorn effect where some altcoin just rampages 50% to the upside, or you get OHM that drops 90% to the downside. Sometimes that happens. But if you look at Bitcoin dominance, okay, it's still grinding here to the upside. Let's go to the daily time frame. Right, let's look at dominance. Yeah, I mean, that is why alts are standing still. Can you see? If you ask yourself the question, why is my altcoins not doing anything? Well, that is why. If dominance falls, if it falls like that, then there's a party, and then Bitcoin gets shoved into the corner. It's had enough biscuits and cookies, and now we start giving attention to all the other children. Right. It's the best way that I can explain it. Sockman, I am so late, never late, right? I record these, these sessions are always available on YouTube. Well, thanks for joining the live stream. The Watcher, hi Dewald, can you please give us a screenshot of your FIB retracement setup so we can calibrate our levels with your setup? Why not? Why not? Absolute why not? So, FIB retracement settings are as such. I got a question the other day, so I want to address that question. Is some people told me, Dewald, but I don't have the numbers that you have. You can change the numbers. You can change the numbers. Okay, you can type in your own numbers, right? If you don't have the number that I have, go and type it in. Oops. I'm just going to cancel not to save the settings, but you can take a screenshot of these settings and you can go and apply the same to you. Okay. Right. And I will even take it a step further. If you want my FIB retracement extension settings, here you go. Right. You can also go and copy and paste that so that yours looks exactly the same. So you can take a screenshot. Right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right. Cool, legends. I think I've basically said what I wanted to say here on Bitcoin today. There's not much to discuss. Okay. There, as always, legends, for me, there's a 50-50. Okay. The harmonic looks sexy as hell. I must say, the harmonic looks sexy. Okay. It looks like, especially the bat. Right. Let me bring up the bat over here. Did I delete it? Damn. Here we go. Okay. You can go and Google this, guys, harmonic patterns. You will get many, 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 many of them. The ones that I like to use are on this sheet, okay? And the most common one that plays out the most often on Bitcoin is the Gartley. This one, the Gartley, the Gartley, this is what we call the Gartley, plays out the most. If you can spot harmonic patterns, you can have a lot of successful trades. There are people that only trade harmonic patterns. Right. The Gartley and the bat is the one that I've seen play out the most on Bitcoin. The other ones, not so much, but I have seen them, but not so frequently. If you go and Google harmonic patterns, okay, you're gonna get even more than what's on here, right? Just keep it simple for yourself. Just keep it simple. Right, Forex Boat. This is the one where I got my stuff from. But this is the bat, is what I'm looking. You've got your X point, your A point, your C point, and then your D point extends to the 0.886. And this is exactly what we've got here now at the moment. Okay, 0.8. Oh, you can 886. We can push it a little bit higher. There we go. Ooh, doesn't want to do it. Doesn't want to do it. Okay, but you guys get the point. That's where you want your D point to reject. It's not allowed to take the high. So if you would like to trade this bat, the best way to trade it, or from a simplicity perspective, is let's plan the trade. You enter at the 0.886 or 0.88, okay, the level that I've identified, this little, let me go switch it on, point of control, okay, that's where you want to see the rejection, yeah, at the point of control. Your stop goes above the high because this pattern is not allowed to claim the high. If it claims the high, it's invalidated, right? And according to the theory of these patterns, your first profit-taking area is the golden pocket, taken from C point to where the 0.88 is. Okay, that is your profit-taking area. This is your trade. Simple as that. That's your trade. Where is the 0.86? Okay, I will just, from a simplicity perspective, don't confuse it, right? Just use the 0.88. So if I take this out and you take your fib from the high to the low, you drag it across, you will see, okay, that the 0.88 and the 0.886 are like dollars close to each other. They're like $5 apart, right? So you can use your 0.88 to catch the short. You don't have to go and type in the 0.886. You don't have to do that. You're just going to confuse the whole situation. It needs to go, basically it needs to go slightly higher. And that's where you get the SFP. With your stop below the low, you enter like a sniper and you pay. And the theory does state that this is your TP1. I'm just a type of trader that likes to pay myself when you hit support. Okay? I will TP1, I will TP2, I will just take profits and all the way down and maybe leave like 10% or even 5% of the position open for lower levels. It's just my style of trading. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with entering a short and taking profits where you're supposed to take profits. I just, the price has reversed on me too many times in my trading career to just wait for this entire T to play out over here and then only to take profits over here. I pay myself because the market cannot be predicted. It can reverse on itself and invalidate this pattern. Okay, right. But there's a chance for this harmonic to play out. And they do play out often. Okay, I just often forget to look at them. But today I saw the opportunity to speak about harmonic patterns. These harmonic patterns are also inside of our masterclass where Andy goes into a lot more detail in terms of the different harmonics, how to trade them, how to spot them, examples, whatever the case might be. So if you guys would like, more educational content around these patterns, join our Legends community over here. You guys can see here I shared the patterns that I'm looking at already with the pro community, the bat pattern, the Gartley that could potentially play out. I did a video update. Andy also does analysis. He did some analysis on the Elliott wave theories or counts that he's seeing. We've got Dylan that does plenty altcoin trades on a daily basis. So if you'd like to come and join, link is here down in the description. Third link down in the description. Okay, I have cleaned up the description so it looks nice and sexy, so you don't get lost. Often people don't know which link to click on, right? And here are the exchanges that I use, and it's also your way to support the channel, and it costs you nothing extra. In fact, you get more by using these links. Okay, you get 25% discount on trading fees. Okay, I know, guys, I need to go and fix this. I said this yesterday. I will definitely go and fix it after this live stream. It's 20% back on the money that you deposit in your features account. So if you deposit $100, you'll get $20 to trade with for free. Okay, if you deposit $1,000, you'll get $200. Okay, my math is better than yesterday. Yesterday, my brain was fried for some reason. And then all you need is an email and a password to sign up to these exchanges. Okay, I just want to do this. Right. So, Legends, not much here on the price of Bitcoin. Let's dive through a couple of... diesel, I don't have the 0. It's fine. Just use the 0.88. You don't need the 0.86. Okay? Just keep it simple. Okay. But, Legends, I need to just point out... Okay, let me just point out that there is a potential for the Gartley. And this is your Gartley setup. You can also leave your stop above the high. But the only difference between the BAT and the Gartley is that the Gartley rejects at the 786. So what I'm trying to highlight over here is there's a chance for price to fall down. From where it is, it does not have to tap the 0.88. This is a BAT, this is a Gartley. The Gartley does look, the BAT does look better because of where the B point is. If it's a Gartley, you actually want the B point to tap the golden pocket. And some people will then argue, well, then why don't you put it there? Okay, that's fine. And you put the C pivot over there. But then this is messy. What is this? This doesn't make sense to me. Okay, and this is why the BAT pattern looks better from a technical perspective. But you can still reject at the 0.786 where price is at the moment. You do not tap this level and you start falling down, where now the Gartley has played out. Right. Cool. Crow. I don't have 0. Okay. I've addressed that already. Okay, cool, legends. Let me first go through the Mr. Jack. Jack, you have requested Say. Let's go through Say. I also have Litecoin. I have Fetch. I've already spoken about Litecoin. I've spoken about Fetch yesterday. So let's use the Fetch tab over here and go and look at Say. Because I have a spot bag of Say. I'm actually very bullish on Say in the long term. I actually haven't looked at the structure in a while. So I'm also curious to see what is Mr. Say doing over here. Oh man. Did it claim? Oh no. Thank goodness. I was like, did it claim the low? Right, legends. Beautiful. I'm just recapping. Okay, so someone asked me in our Legends Pro community some time back, Dewald, what is a good accumulation zone for Say? We dipped into the accumulation zone and we got the bounce out. That was the accumulation zone that I identified, and it is based on all of this that's going on here from an Elliott wave perspective. But I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to keep it simple. Legends, this counts beautifully as a three-wave structure. W, X, Y. You have an ABC and W, you have an ABC and X, and you formed an ABC inside of your Y wave and also the end of your C wave. This is a really good box to start accumulating between 15 cents or 16 cents and 11 cents. I know it's a big zone, but considering the macro structure, it's nothing. Okay. And at the moment, Say is not inside the accumulation zone. Okay. It's not inside, but it's still close. Say has also broken trend. Say has broken trend. It's also consolidating outside of the trend, which is usually a bullish sign. So if you are a trader that's building a position on spot, okay, guys, spot, not leverage. The stop loss is 28% away. If you apply the wrong amount of leverage and you try and attempt a swing trade over here, you're going to get liquidated, right? 10x, you out. 5x, you out. Maybe you'll get away with 3x. Maybe 3, 4x, you'll get away with 3x. But this for me is a spot. So if you're building a spot position over here, okay, stop below the low, then right, you need to give the structure the benefit of the doubt. All you're basically doing here is you are exercising a trading strategy. You know where to put your stop loss and you know where to take profits. Potentially it could be the start of more momentum here to the upside. But this zone, if Sui can come back into the zone, this is a good zone to accumulate. It did dip ever so slightly into the zone. And I'm not sure if that person, I can't remember who asked me inside of the Legends Pro community, who asked me, Dewald, what's the zone? And I said, it's in the zone. It's inside of accumulation zone. So if you did scoop up some over here, then, I mean, you should be already nicely in the profits. Right, but then from a let me go here to the log scale. From a daily perspective, the structure is, the bullish structure on Say is still intact. And we all know what Sui has done already to the upside. Okay, this is Sui's little sister, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, Say is potentially just lagging behind Sui, and Sui has done phenomenal things, and perhaps Say's chance is going to be very soon. Beautiful three-wave corrective structure. It has tapped. Look at this. Okay, when you take a fib from the high to the low to the high, a trend-based fib. Look at the 1-to-1 got tapped to the dollar. It tapped the 1-to-1 to the dollar, and it got the bounce to the upside. And it's a Y-wave target. Something else I want to see over here is that if I take just for shits and giggles, if I take a fib from this high to the low to the high, yep, you also tap the 1.618. Also tap the 1.618, but the 1-to-1 is the most important target. Just wanted to see if the C, there's a chance that the C wave is also done because you tap the 1.618. So if this is an A, B, C, you tap the 1.618 just above the 1-to-1 extension. Guys, I don't like to say this because I always sound like the only bullish peanut in the packet, okay? What if Bitcoin makes another low? Yes, it still has room for downside. It still has room for downside because I don't know whether I should take this pivot or this pivot, right? I don't know where price came from. This is the chart that I found that the technicals and the volumes and everything make sense to me, but maybe there's another chart where it still has data here to the left, right? But if I take this pivot over here, it still has a lot of breathing room. Okay, so that the structure remains bullish for an impulse to the upside to create a third wave. So say looks great. Okay, even where it made the bounce there, it looks great. There's a chance that the low could be in, but it also has enough breathing room to sweep the lows, and you get that swing failure pattern, stops out all the early longs, and then it continues to the upside. But it's a good zone to start accumulating from a spot perspective. Right, not from a leverage perspective. From a leverage perspective, I want to see us claim the high first. You need to start changing market structure. Then the higher low becomes very interesting. Maybe you play the breakout over there, and then you have a nice little tight stop loss, okay? This is where I become interested in swing trades. This is where I become very interested in spots, only spot. Okay, right, and these tokens can be traded with the links down in the description, both on Weeks and Bluffin. Then we had ETH. Let's go have a look at ETH. ETH is at a very interesting spot, okay, purely from a trend line perspective. You guys can see over here, trend, tap, 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 tap. Okay, there's a chance that it breaks out. ETH is also at a very interesting spot where the low could be in, but ETH also has the opportunity for one more low. And unfortunately, guys, no one can predict the market. And this is why I'm saying, legends, is that whoever can catch the tops and the bottoms to perfection every single time, well done. Okay, without losing money, well done, right? Because the bottom could be in on ETH. But it could also still come and tap the 1.618 at 1,354. So this is still a good zone for me to start accumulating, and I have been accumulating ETH very aggressively. But this is where I'm going to get most aggressive. Okay, is when we hit the 1.618. We also have the 786 not too far down. Right, so when you look at ETH here on the daily time frame, okay, and I know it looks a little bit messy. Let me just maybe do this. I also have, okay, before I do that, it's from a simplicity perspective, you have a low, you have a high, double top. Pretty decent double top, like it literally rejected at the same level. But the structure is still bullish. ETH has now tapped the golden pocket. It's a very bullish retracement structure. Impulse, retracement. Higher low, continuation. Okay, oops, my mouse is stuffing around. Right, you guys get the deal. And even the most maximum bullish target is the 786. So even if ETH makes one more low, let's say Bitcoin falls here to the downside and it goes and it completes that fifth wave, the harmonic, the bat or the Gartley plays out, it reverses the price of Bitcoin, we go smack those lows again. You know, the altcoins that I'm currently accumulating has room for one more low, and they will still have a bullish structure. And this is why I'm so very picky about the ones that I'm currently adding. I do have more altcoins in my portfolio, but these are the ones that I'm now adding a little bit more aggressively. Okay, because from a technical perspective, they just look great. I know the world is bearish. I know that everyone is calling for lower levels. Some people are saying the bear market has already started. Some people are saying we're not going to even see an altcoin season ever again. As a technical trader, I cannot ignore the technicals, because when price falls, that is fear. This is where people call for bear markets. This is where no one wants to buy. This is where everything is going to shit, okay? And I mean, it had a massive drop here to the downside. So when I hear the sentiment I'm expecting to hear what I'm hearing at the moment, because ETH and most of the alts are at levels where no one wants to buy because they believe Bitcoin is in a bear market. So, you know, no financial advice, guys. Absolutely no financial advice. Can ETH do this? Just remember, can ETH do this? Yes. Then I have an exit strategy that I will execute. But I will explain to everyone my exit strategy once it's there. So if ETH and Litecoin and Say and Sui and who else? The ones that I've linked. There's a couple of altcoins that I've been accumulating. If they do this and they invalidate their bullish structures, I will share with everyone on the live stream what is my exit strategy. But my exit strategy is not a stop loss. I'm not going to take a loss. I can tell you guys now, I will most probably be able to get out of the market even with profits if this happens. You just have to be patient. Okay. Well, that is my strategy. Okay, so I'm explaining to you guys what I am doing. This crazy Dewald here on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do if this happens to my portfolio. I'm going to tell you what I am going to do, right? You should not do what I do. You should do your own research and execute based on your research, right? Okay. Let's go back here. So this is basically ETH, and in a nutshell, it has a very similar structure to Say that I've just discussed. It has formed a W, X, Y, and we have hit both a Y wave and a C wave target, but there is one more C wave target slightly below that has not been tapped. And it doesn't mean that it has to tap that level. It just means that it could tap that level. And this is why I'm accumulating in this zone. Okay, so that's technical analysis on ETH. And then, I don't know, do you guys want me to talk about Ohm? Let me know in the comments. I'm not going to talk about Ohm if you don't want me to talk about Ohm. I've been hearing one more low for ETH for months. Yes, true, really true. All we can do is just accumulate, okay? And you know, the strange thing about technical analysis is, especially Elliott wave theory, it's only once the structure has formed almost to completion where it starts making sense. Because when ETH was here, we never thought that it was, you can't predict a WXY structure when ETH was here. And when it was rampaging here to the upside, we thought it's just going to go to higher levels. And then it made a lower high. Okay. And then once the structures, then you can, oh, this is an ABC. This is another ABC, another ABC. Okay, oh, this is now a WXY inside of the X. Now you can start measuring the targets to determine where this low is going to be. So the more data you have, the more accurate the analysis becomes. So ETH is now at a point where I'm getting interested. Very interested. The last time I bought ETH was on the 5th of August. That was the last time I bought, was on the 5th of August. All of the other tokens that I bought over there made me money except ETH. Yes, ETH had a momentum here to the upside, but it didn't make me the gains like XRP and Link and some of the other altcoins. Okay, yes, it had momentum to the upside and then it started collapsing back to the downside. But now, this is now the first time since the 5th of August that I'm starting to buy ETH again. The first time. Okay. Could you talk about Doge, TA, from weekly perspective? I will see if there's time to talk about Doge. Dewald, please talk about Ohm. Dewald, is this the right time to buy Ohm? No, it's not the right time to buy Ohm. Not by a long shot. Would be delighted with a mini altcoin season. Me too, Gabriel. I would love a, even if it's just a mini altcoin season, you know, that takes us to resistance, I will be happy with that. I will really be happy. Even with a small move like that, I will be very, very happy. And I will make insane profits with a small move like that. Okay, but it looks like, okay, you must also remember you have from the highs to the low, you have a 0.88 tap. Okay, if you, let me clean up the chart and show you guys. And this is just very simple technical analysis, right? When you take a fib from the high to this low that we've created, okay, Ethereum has tapped the 0.88 3 times, which significantly increases the probabilities whatever is happening over here, you're going to claim the high. There's a higher, there's the increased probability to claim the high before you claim the low because of this. That's just from a simplicity perspective. Okay, it's very unlikely to form impulses to the downside to create a crash on Ethereum if you've rejected by the 0.88. If ETH rejected at the 786, I would not be buying here at the moment. I would not be buying. But because it rejected at the 0.88 and because the WXY and the ABC targets starts to align here at the moment, and I see the 0.88, I'm starting to get a little bit excited. Okay, from a technical perspective. Okay, cool. Legends, let's go to more altcoins. Right, Ohm is pumping like crazy. Guys, I mean, if you want to day trade it, by all means, okay? But here on the weekly time frame, just, you know, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Okay, look at this. I'm just going to explain it as quickly as I possibly can. If you look at Ohm on the weekly time frame, right? Where's my scenario over here? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. Okay. I want to put in the lines so everyone can see. And then I think even inside here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 waves inside of your fifth wave. And yeah, I mean, if you zoom into the smaller structure, I can also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of the third wave. Okay, guys, remember what I always preach. And when I talk about Elliott wave theory, right? Your third wave always has the most amount of volume. You had the most amount of volume in your third wave to the upside. You then correct for a 4 and a 5. So when I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it needs to come to an end. So this, yes, was very aggressive to the downside, but the structure needs to correct itself. So whether it's FUD, whether it's a hack, it doesn't matter. But, you know, bad news is going to cause a correction to the downside, which is due. It's due from a fifth wave perspective. The correction is due. I didn't expect it to drop so fast, but you have successfully created 5 waves to the upside. If you were longing over here, you are longing the fifth wave. Okay. The end of the impulse, right? And then this now is, okay, where it becomes interesting is that A, B, C. It has to be said that the correction is extremely short compared to the impulse. Because if I take the lowest point over here, which is this one, and I put it on the highest point of the structure, your correction needs to come to an end after the 25th of August. So yes, you could get bounces along the way. You could get bounces and drops along the way. But this, my friends, is where you want to see the final low made after the 0.382. So that this structure has a balanced corrective structure. Right after you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, it's very unlikely just to end a correction over here and just continue. It's just very, 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 very rare. Like a 2% probability, if not less. Okay, and I'm here on the weekly time frame. So should you be buying, say, you can zoom into the smaller time frames. You can go and play the 15-minute. Wow, okay, 15-minute. There was a break-off trend. You could have played the breakout. Okay, you apply your trading strategy. Your stop goes below the low, and you take profits as you start hitting resistance. It's at resistance at the moment. Okay, it's hitting resistance at the moment. So you can day trade this, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is not a place where I add any ohm to my spot bags. No ways in hell from a technical perspective. So yes, you can day trade it, but I'm not adding ohm to my spot bags because I can already see successful 5 waves to the upside. And this is only, for me, this looks like the start of the correction. I'm not saying it's going to continue to the downside, legends. All I'm saying is the correction needs more time. It needs more time. It doesn't have to go deeper. It just needs to correct for longer. Okay. And ideally after the 0.382, which is on the 27th of August this year, you want the 5, because it can do this, and then it makes one more low, right? In the zone where you want it to make the low from a timing perspective, then the structure looks better, right? Wouldn't you agree? It looks better. At the moment, it looks cockeye. It looks completely out of balance. You have an impulse, and is that your correction? And you're just going to continue? It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Right now, ohm is only for day trading. Yes, luck is up. Luck is up. I love that. Luck is up. 100% agree with you. Okay. I think you stole the words out of my mouth. It's for day trading. It's not for accumulation. When I see 5 waves to the upside and I see this is not where you buy. Well, this is not where I buy. Okay. I can't tell you what you need to do. What if it shoots up here? Okay, what if this is A, it makes a B flat and it comes back down for a C? Okay, this is all part of a corrective structure. And then when price is over here, people are going to say, Dewald, you told us not to buy. Please do your own research. I am not buying ohm. It had a massive impulse here to the upside in a clear 5 wave structure, and this could potentially be only the start of the correction. And yes, nothing just falls in a straight line. Okay, so don't think for one moment this bounce is just gonna, it doesn't make any sense. It from a technical perspective, it doesn't make sense. And I would be very surprised if it just reverses on itself, a V-shaped recovery. It would be very weird, because then for the first time, I can tell you guys, for the first time on the macro time frame, like the daily and the weekly chart, I have seen a correction end so short in time. I've never seen it. Never. I've seen it on the 1 minute time frame. I've seen it on the 5 minute time frame where the 382 doesn't get respected, but it gets pretty close. Sometimes it gets there just before the 382 and it bounces. I have seen that on smaller time frames, but not on daily and weekly time frames. I have not seen it yet, where a correction ends this quick. Yeah, legends, doesn't make sense. I mean, the market is here to surprise us, but I can tell you guys now from a technical perspective, it doesn't make sense just to stop and go. Doesn't make sense to me. Right. Cool. Wallets were tracked. Yeah, I know there's some fundamentals. Someone got liquidated. Anyways, I don't care about the fundamentals. I care about the technicals. Well, mostly the technical, because I'm a technical trader, right? And even from a technical perspective, yes, I mean, the drop was very aggressive, but I can tell you guys now from it, I don't have ohm in my portfolio. But if I had to analyze ohm before the drop over here, I would have identified this and I would have said, ooh, this is where you're supposed to take profits. This, my friends, is where you're supposed to take profits. This is not where you add to your spot bags for future investments. Okay. It also becomes very interesting on the smaller time frames. Let's go into the 4 hour. Even inside this structure, I think there should be some clues. There must be some clues as to why price fell down. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, I mean, there's your clue, guys. You have 5 waves to the downside. Momentum is shifting. Your impulses are shifting to the downside. You have a 5-wave structure to the downside. Here, you have a 3-wave structure. If momentum is going to continue up, you need to do this the other way around. You need to have 5-wave structures to the upside and 3-wave corrective structures. This is where things changed. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. That is a corrective structure. And then Also 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I mean, I didn't. I can tell you guys now. Would I have expected this? No. I think, you know, what everyone would expect is at least something like this. You know, it corrects, but you know, it goes down nicely. It goes down nicely, right? This was very aggressive, but there was a clue even over here. Okay, if I zoom into this little last structure that it formed, this is not a bullish structure, guys. If you form a three-wave structure to the upside, you increase the probabilities of taking the low. Where is 4? Where is 5? If it did this, this would never have happened. The technicals showed you that there's shit coming. Did we expect it to fall here? No, but this showed you that there's trouble in the land. There's trouble. Because each movement to the upside was a three-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There was no 4, 5. There was no 4, 5. There is crap over here. Okay. It's something that I always pay attention to. And even here on the price of Bitcoin, guys, that, you know, this, if I clean up the chart over here and remember to smash up that like button. Okay, I still have couple of minutes. I still have a couple of minutes. Now that we have this little structure, how important is it for us and myself, Andy, and whoever other influencer you follow from an Elliott wave perspective? We have to form 5 waves to the upside in order to reverse and go up. So we can now say, well, this looks like it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a chance that price can reverse and go back up. But if price stopped over here and it didn't do this and it started falling down, okay, then I mean, it's not good. And this is what happened here. Okay, look at this. 1, 2, 3. What happened? You claimed the low. Right. Anyways, legends, love to educate, like to show all the different scenarios. I have unfortunately run out of time. I've got other things that I need to attend to. I'm running out of time over here. So thank you so much for joining the live stream. I hope you found some value in today's live stream. And remember the links for the exchanges that I use to trade Weeks and Bluffin. All you need is an email and a password. You qualify for the lowest trading fees, bigger sign-up bonuses. Right. Have yourselves an amazing evening, afternoon, and morning. Until the next one. Cheers for now.